Okay, so you've had 3 victims plus one other that you identified. So you're saying you've had 4 victims.
So, so in a sense of everybody that I've affected in this, I have the 3 COC victims, but potentially 60 plus victims and people I've affected. My wife, she's my ex-wife now. Yeah, I was 21 and she was 14.
Hello.
How are you this morning?
Good.
Good, good. It looks like we're going to be talking to Mr. Lamson next. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. Is there anything new that you would like to share with us?
I don't think so. I was out on leave at the time that this was submitted. I kind of looked over the plan that was submitted. No big updates. He's always been pretty easy to work with. He completed SLTP and his high set here. He has some supports on the outside, but he has a 2,000-foot rule, so there's some difficulty with housing and stuff. I know his mom was looking for like rental options and stuff and just wasn't ever able to find anything, which is why we're looking at work release. Any other questions, or should I go get them?
I don't have any, but let me ask my colleagues. Meredith or Jesse, do you have any questions?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Yes, please. Thank you.
Okay. Be right back. Lamson. You're gonna stay here, okay? And I'll try to get your video and stuff on you after you sit down. Nope, wrong way. Oh,
Well,
well,
stay on there very well.
right? Okay, I think that's good.
That looks good to me. Colleagues, are you good with the camera? Okay.
Yep.
Perfect. Good morning, Mr. Lamson.
Good morning.
Would you share your name and number with us, please?
Sean Lamson, 652-0610.
Thank you, sir. I want to introduce you to the 3-member panel of the Board of Parole that's going to be conducting your interview this morning. I'm on screen. I'm Susie Wynock. You'll see together Meredith Lamberti and Jesse Rincon. I want to let you know that we're in a public forum, and that means that the members of the public and media can listen. However, they're unable to participate with us today. I also want to let you know that it's possible during the course of this interview that personal and confidential information could be discussed that's including, but not necessarily limited to, your medical history, your mental health history, your treatment history, or other confidential information. Do you understand?
Yes.
And do you wish to continue?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to let you know how this process works, okay?
Okay.
All right. The 3 of us may each have questions for you. Once we've asked our questions, I'll then come to you and I'll ask you if there's anything further you'd like for us to know today. It'll be your opportunity to share. Once you've completed that, then we're going to go into deliberation and you'll be able to see us and hear us, but it won't be a time for your participation at that point.
Okay.
Once we have a decision, I'll come back to you. I'll deliver that decision, answer any questions you might have, and then that'll complete today's interview.
Okay.
All right. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Let's start with what brought you into prison, what was going on in your mind at that point in time, and what crime did you commit? And provide us details, please.
Okay. In prison, obviously, so I committed 3 very bad crimes, in my opinion, and looking back on it now, I know I see it a lot differently than when I did in the moment. I wasn't in my right mind. I wish I could talk to myself in the past and, talk sense into myself. I have 3 different crimes, sex abuse, 3rd degree, 2 minors, family related, and then lascivious acts on the 3rd. Do you need initials of the victims?
No, I don't believe that we need the initials. What
Okay.
led up to you? What led up to you committing your crimes?
Very serious and bad choices.
What does that look like? What was causing the bad choices? Have you gotten into that?
Yeah, giving children, characteristics of an adult's, not seeking help when clearly I needed it. I guess I didn't think exactly, how to answer that, but I know that I'm different now than what I was before, and it's for me it's been different seeing things from the outside looking in, and I was just thinking of that the other day. I heard a lot of people. I only thought of myself. I wish I could have seen beforehand the ripple effect that I would have on my whole family and all the betrayal that I caused. Wish I could go back in time, and I know I can't, but I want to focus on a better future.
So you've completed SOTP?
Yes,
Okay. How many victims do you have?
I have 3
Okay.
COC victims.
And what do you mean by that?
So COC victims, and then as far as treatment goes, one COC victim can have a lot of victims attached to a ripple effect. My family members, anyone that's had to hear what happened. Um, Victims when I was younger. Being 19 years old and dating a girl that was 14. And I talked about all that in SOTP. But that's what I meant about, others.
Okay, so you've had 3 victims plus one other that you identified. So you're saying you've had 4 victims.
So, in a sense of everybody that I've affected in this, I have the 3 COC victims, but potentially 60 plus victims and people I've affected. My wife, she's my ex-wife now. I was 21 and she was 14. So she was a victim, and and just all the effects that I had on everybody. I had no idea in my state of mind back then exactly how bad my way of thinking was. The way I would think about things and handle things was not at all correct. And I'm glad that I've had this experience to see things in a better light, to see them differently, and to know all my thinking errors. I had really bad thinking errors, and yeah, I guess I'm just really focusing on just working towards being a better person in society, and I hope to make amends with the people in my family, anyone that still wants to, but I don't blame them if they, don't want to have contact with me.
All right. Thank you for answering my question. I'm going to move to my colleagues at this time. Meredith, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions for you. Good morning, Mr. Lamson.
Good morning.
To start, I guess, what are the things that you think you need in place out in the community in order for you to be the most successful?
Family support, my church, I don't know, call it therapy or therapist, someone to be able to talk to, just to, stay on the right track, a good job, place to stay, just, family support. I think that's it's about all. I just looking forward to going home or living close to home, whatever that might be. Me,
Makes sense.
yes.
Have you been able to identify any risk factors or red flags that you need to stay away from?
Yes, my biggest one is being alone with minors. I will make sure that I am not in the event something like that happens. I'll make sure I contact somebody, an adult, or but yes, that's been my biggest risk factor is acting on impulse. Not thinking things through. And I've had a lot of issues, holding down jobs. And I realize when I act on impulse, it affects more than just me. And it really got me thinking. And that was my biggest risk factor is, making a sudden decision, not thinking it through first. And so that's what I've been really focusing on is just, trying to think before I speak, think before I act, consider more than just my possible, any possible outcome other than my selfish way of thinking.
Yeah, you did a good job talking about that ripple effect and the victims outside your crime of conviction. It made a lot of sense. You can tell that resonated with you.
It did.
Um, yeah. So it looks like we have a little bit of information about you looked to try to go to your mom, but there were some issues with the living restrictions you have. But is she a good support system for you?
Yes, she is. She's been here for me through it all, and has just helped me. And it's been really good having her there because I've been fortunate to have support because I've seen other guys that families and friends tend to stop talking to them, including their moms, and so it really helps having somebody there.
Okay, that's good. Do you have any other people in the community who are a good support system for you?
Yes, my brother, our pastor, my sister, have some friends and family, and I have a few friends out there. I haven't talked to in a while, but I'm sure that they would be good support also.
Okay, that's good. That's good. And then I think my final question for you, another thing that you had mentioned that is important to you is having a good job.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you know what you want to do for work or what your employment or education goals are?
So everyone's telling me that Tyson Foods in Council Bluffs hires people that are right out of prison, and it would be a good job. My focus is I'd like to get my certification for mechanics.
Okay.
And really, either work for a good shop or maybe open my own shop. But yes, that's kind of the goals that I want to focus on. I'm honestly not concerned about jumping in any relationships. Focus on bettering myself and being more prepared for things down the road.
Yeah,
I definitely don't want to put myself in any other positions. I don't want to have to come back to prison, because I realize how important time is, and my mom's 71, I worry about her, and I just, for me, each second that goes by, a minute that goes by that I'm not out there, it's hard, because I want to focus on being better, being there for my family, for my mom, and however much time she has left. And make her proud, and show her that I can do this, be a better person, and move forward.
it's good. It sounds like you've got goals and things that are important to you to help keep you on the right track.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you for answering my questions. I think that was all I had. Appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Meredith. Jesse, do you have any questions?
I do, thank you. Good morning, my name is Jesse, nice to meet you.
Morning.
So, were you married at the time of this incident?
Yes, I was.
And what was lacking in your marriage that made you commit these crimes?
And I thought about this many times. There was nothing lacking in my marriage. And really the only issue was my own fault. You know, my wife and she just wanted to spend time with me, you know, and I was too concerned about doing things, you know, my own selfish things, you know. It was, all this was my fault. I mean, my wife would still be here for me, you know, if I hadn't done what I did. And we'd been together a long time. I just didn't do the things I should have as a husband. I should have thought things through. I should have never committed any of the crimes I did. You know, I made my wife a victim because, you know, I cheated on her, and that was something that I always talked about I would never do. And then I went and did it, and I just created a huge mess. And I just, you know, wish so bad I could take things back, but I know I can't. You know, I can just focus towards the future. And
So do you think that your past relationships were hindered by your thought process?
yes, they were. And I got to thinking, you know, a lot of my relationships that I've been in, I've, you know, thought more sexual towards them. And so I realize now I didn't give the relationships the chance to, you know, to build trust and confidence. And I watch a lot of movies, and I've learned things through them. And, you know, if I am to get in a relationship next, I want to focus more on getting to know the person, you know, and them getting to know me before anything else like that happens, because it really affects the relationship.
My last question for you, what have you identified as your red flags?
Okay, so my red flag, my biggest one is acting on impulse. And yeah, and not thinking things through, because I'm confident if I would have done this beforehand, you know, thought things through, would have saw all the pain and hurt that I caused, I would not have done it. Being around minors alone, as long as adults are around, you know, I believe that I can be successful, but I'll make sure that I am not alone with minors at all.
So I guess I have one more question. So from a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being good, what do you feel your success on parole will be?
10,
Without a
Yeah.
doubt.
without a doubt.
I have no more questions. Thank you for answering the ones I had.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jesse. Meredith, do you have any follow-up?
I do not.
All right, thank you. So now is the time, Mr. Lamson, for you to share with us anything further you'd like for us to know today.
Yeah, actually, so since I've been here, you know, you hear a lot of negative from guys about staff members and about counselors. But one thing I have noticed is there's a lot of positive. You know, they all come here every day to help us. I don't think they get the recognition that they deserve. And I am thankful for my counselor and for my teacher, my SOTP. She was very nice with us. One thing that stood out, you know, is she was like, people on the outside are like, why do you want to go and help sex offenders? You know, why do you want to, you know, it just society has a rough view about us. And I've met so many good people here, and, you know, that have made mistakes that deserve another chance. But she wanted to help make sure that, you know, we don't repeat the same offenses again, that she wanted to help us. And I just, to know that there's many people here that, you know, care enough to come here and help us, it meant a lot to me. So I always wanted to, talk about that. I've thought over quite a few different times, but I see more good here than there's bad. And you only hear about people that come back to prison because, they keep breaking the law, they keep going back into the same ways. You never hear about people that are successful because they don't come back to prison. I think
All right.
that's
Okay, thank you for sharing. We appreciate hearing from you. Now is the time that we're going to go into deliberation. It won't be a time for you to participate, but we encourage you to listen in as we make a decision. Once that decision's made, I'll come back, I'll deliver that decision to you, and that'll conclude today's interview.
okay. Thank you.
All right, Meredith?
Yeah, I'm gonna support this recommendation. I thought that this was a good interview. I appreciate what he said at the end about, the people there who are working to help him. I think that that was really thoughtful. It sounds like he's done a lot of work on identifying, the ripple effect, his risk factors. He's got a good plan. He's got things that motivate him to want to be better. So let's see, I'd be looking at the parole with a 10B, to the work release, no early discharge, internet restriction, no contact with minors. In the 40A, I would do SOTP aftercare, and then I would include mental health because he did say that having somebody to talk to would help him to be successful. Let me see. I think that was all that I had identified.
All right, thank you. Jesse?
Thank you. I thought he had some really good insight here. Impulsivity can be deadly, and I think he's realized that it's kind of ruined his life a little bit, but it's still fixable at this point. I think that the classes he took, I think he took away what we asked one to take from classes that they took, and I'm glad he recognized that. So I'm in agreement with the release plan to parole as well with the 10B, same codes that Meredith said. So thanks.
Thank you, Jesse. So I'm supportive of the DOC's recommendation, and I'm supportive of the same codes. I'm also seeing that they're looking for substance abuse. So I would be able to include the substance abuse. And with that, I would be happy to also include the 50A if you all would like to discuss that.
I'm good with that.
Yeah, that's fine with me.
Okay, so on the department's recommendation, we'll add the substance abuse. So I have the PGD3, 10B, 20A, internet, 20B with no early discharge, the 30A, no contact with minors. We're looking at the SOTP aftercare, mental health, substance abuse, and 50A. Are we gonna go?
We can start over.
Okay. So we're in agreement. We're still talking amongst ourselves. We're in agreement with the codes. We're adding the substance abuse and based on the department's recommendation. And also we agreed on the 50A. So colleagues, I just wanted to talk a minute here about, he's already on a special sentence that was granted and he has that 10E. So the process here, just so that we have this discussed for the department, is in moving him forward today, they're going to need to bring him back to have the 10E removed. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think that special sentence was for the lascivious acts that TDD'd off.
Okay.
Yeah, so that can just be a change decision.
That one TDD'd off.
He's been on a 10E for that, but yeah, they can work with Trish to submit the plan for that to be removed and replaced with the 10B.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that we were all on the same page. Thank you. So I'll go ahead and deliver our decision. Mr. Lamson, we thought this was a good interview. As my colleagues discussed, the same things that I have noted down is that you understand that impulsivity is a big red flag for you. And you've been through SOTP, so you've had the knowledge and cognitive change to understand that. And that's very positive. It'll be huge in your stability and your relationship with others. to be able to take care of that impulsivity. In addition, you had goals, you want to rebuild your relationships. Those are all positive things. You have a plan. And I too was impressed with giving a shout out to those who have been working with you, that it meant a lot to you. And we could tell it wasn't just lip service. I could feel your emotion coming as you discussed that with us. So we appreciated the interview. Also, I wanted to commend you on your high set.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. That's a really big achievement. I noticed that you got it in 22. It takes a lot of work and stick-to-itivism, as I call it. And so if you can do all of that, you've already set the groundwork for what you can do moving forward. So hang on to that feeling and hang on to what it took to get there. So we're moving you forward today with the PGD3. It'll go through work release with that 10B. We're looking at a 20A, which means that you'll have limited internet. That doesn't mean you can't look for a job. I know you talked about Tyson's, but if there's other opportunities that you're wanting to look at, you'll just work with your PO on that. Also, you will not discharge your sentence early. This sentence is until June 9th of 2026. Then you have the special sentence, and that special sentence appears to run until 1/14 of 28. So all of the process that goes with that, your counsel, your PO will take care of. Your counselor can talk to you about that and what it looks like. In addition, there's a 30A of no contact with minors. And then we want you to continue with SOTP by going into SOTP aftercare. And we want you to engage in mental health. We've talked about that a bit today. We think that that's a good idea for you, supporting you. And then the substance abuse, we want you to get a baseline, see where you are with that. And the 50A simply means that you are not to frequent any establishment that's primary activity is the sale of alcohol. So liquor stores and bars. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense.
Okay. Do you have any questions?
I don't think so. And I'm not really an alcohol drinker, so that'll be an easy one.
Perfect. Perfect. We just want to make sure we can give you as many bumpers, so to speak, as possible. We want you to be successful. We want to see you win.
Okay, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You bet. Thank you for this interview. This concludes our time together. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too.
I will be, they've still got, not me.
I mean, frankly, I have no idea what I just watched. I just don't know. I don't know because it's Iowa and we have a bunch of hearings with crimes that are so horrendous that I'm just not covering them because they're like this. They're nuts. They're out of their mind. Are you kidding me? I mean, really, even with the information that Richard's had, I still don't know what's going on. It shows here in like the documents. Maybe I'm just missing something. But he married a 14-year-old when he was 19. I mean, this is we're talking about 20 years later. What is he talking about? And we'll get into that. I looked at that, but he's charged with sexual abuse, third victim, 14 years old to 15 years old, and a family member. He was incarcerated November 22, 2021. He also has that he sexually assaulted 4 14-year-old girls when he was 19. That's what I have in the notes Richard provided. I just don't get it. It's like, obviously, this man has a thing for 14-year-olds. That's his obsession. That's what he's into. But they don't talk about any of that. What's your oh wow. I was really impressed by what you said. You know, you're really emotional by that. And it's like, I don't know. Maybe that was his attempt at manipulating you, board. Do you realize that the only time that he was able to get emotional was when he took the moment to talk about how great the DOC is? When he took a moment to do a blatant attempt at manipulation and you fell for it hook, line, and sinker. That's pathetic. I just don't know. It's like, the problem was I was married. I should have given her more attention. I was like, no, the problem is that you're into a relative. Who was it? Was it her baby sister? Like, I don't even know. Holy cow. I'd still be married to her now. Dude, she was 14. What are you even talking about? You should never have been. I would have still been married. How dare you say that? How dare the board just go on with that? You know, I had to search this up. I'm like, Iowa marriage 14. What's going on? So I mean, now take it for what it is. Some of you watching this might know different. I had to use one of those Chat GPT things, and it said, so historically, it was indeed legal to marry a 14-year-old in Iowa under certain circumstances prior to 2019. Iowa did not set a minimum age for marriage. The state allowed individuals 18 or older to marry without restrictions, individuals 16 and 17 to marry with parental consent, individuals 16 under to marry with both parental consents and judicial approval. So it is possible that he legally married a 14-year-old, which it seems he did. This meant that technically a person any age, including 14, could be married in Iowa if they had both parental consent and judicial approval. There was no absolute minimum set by the age of law. However, it's important to note such young marriages were rare, especially in more recent decades. Judges had decisions to deny. The lack of minimum age was increasingly seen as problematic. The legal situation changed in 2019 when Iowa passed legislation setting the minimum marriage age at 16 with parental consent. A judicial approval required 16 and 17-year-olds. It took till 2019 for that archaic law to change, but at least it changed. And he's a dangerous man, a manipulative man, and the idea that they fall for that crap hook, line, and sinker is disturbing, this parole board member. We know with this parole board, they are nuts. They're a danger to society, in my opinion. I mean, they're clueless. We've seen enough of them, and I'm disgusted by them. I really don't know, again, what it is that he did. He did something where, just like looking at it, sex abuse, third victim, 14 to 15, family. His good time was 6/9/2026. He was sentenced 11/22/2021. I don't know, again, they don't tell us anything, but you know that it was bad. And the questions they ask, the things he say, it's disturbing, it's disgusting that our system would and they fell for his manipulation. So there you have it. This is why we do this. What can you do? Thank you, Richard, for providing what info there was. And yeah, I don't know if you still want me to do these Iowa hearings. There are many of them. Let me know in the comment section. Problem is they don't get into the details of the crime. They pretty much run like this. So I don't know. I don't know if I should still do them. With that, I'll let you.
Okay, so you've had 3 victims plus one other that you identified. So you're saying you've had 4 victims.
So, so in a sense of everybody that I've affected in this, I have the 3 COC victims, but potentially 60 plus victims and people I've affected. My wife, she's my ex-wife now. Yeah, I was 21 and she was 14.